Discover your uniqueness, then discipline yourself to develop it. Discover your uniqueness, then discipline yourself to develop it. One of the critical things and points that I've had the opportunity to think about even yesterday was actually in being successful and fulfilling your purpose is to understand your unique talents, to find the actual right arena and the right area and actually how you should utilize it. There is a big difference between having dreams that actually propel you to achieve the idea or pulling the ideal out of something than actually having no connection to who it is, who you are, and what it is that you do. There has to be really like a criteria or some type of protocol for knowing if your desire matches the abilities that you possess. Okay. So one of the things that God gave me even last night was, do you know the difference between what you want and what you're good at? Let me give it to you again. Do you know the difference between what you want and what it is that you're actually good at? That's going to be very important because some people, they're good at some stuff, but it's really not really what you want. Some people, they want to achieve a high level of success, but are you good at maintaining that area in which you're supposed to be? Number two, do you know what drives you and gives you satisfaction? Do you know what drives you and actually give you satisfaction? Because a lot of people, they're highly driven, but they're never satisfied. I'm one that can testify to that. I'm never one that actually ever gets a chance to enjoy the success of a thing. I know people will say, why not? That's not good and stuff. I think because when I'm driven to do something and it's purposeful by God, I live in that moment for the moment, but I'm always thinking down the road for what's next. And I believe those of you that's in life, you have to look at life that same way. Sometimes you just got to say, okay, what's next? Now, I'm not saying not to not enjoy the moment. You should. I think there are seasons where I go back and I reflect on certain things. But like in that moment, I'm trying to do what I'm supposed to do what I'm called to do, and move on to the next. I think one of the first major accomplishments I can say that I had in a while, that I like now sit back and look and enjoy the success about, is what happened in October. And I noticed that was 4 months ago. But now I can kind of sit back and reflect. But I'm reflecting from the positives and the negatives, but then also as I'm preparing for this year's, how to make sure that I'm getting things better than I did last year. You follow me? I don't sit there the whole time walking around like kingpin, like I really accomplished something when, you know, we haven't finished it. So I like to make sure that a lot of times I'm really knowing what drives me and what gives me satisfaction. When I do things, I don't do it for myself. I do it for the pleasing for the people that are coming, or the people that are part, or the people that are witnessing, and to see them get to what it is that they need. That's one of the greatest things that I love. I love having great teachings, great insightful power on some stuff. I look for that type of thing. So number one, if you're writing it down, do you know the difference between what you want and what you're good at? Number two, do you know what drives you and actually, hear me, what gives you satisfaction? All right. Here's number three. Do you know what your values and priorities are, and what the organization's values and priorities? Okay, let me give it to you again. Do you know your values and priorities? And do you know your organization's values and priorities? Okay. Okay. That's very important, because you have to measure those differences, and it will actually reveal the obstacles between you and what you want to do. If you look at those three, I'm telling you what it'll do. It will reveal your obstacles between you and really what you want to do. You got to look at the questions, and you have to ask yourself whether you're able to actually overcome those differences. And in most cases, And in most cases, that will happen. Write this down. Your vision will become clear only when you look at your heart. Let me say again. Your vision will become clear once you look at your heart. Who looks outside are dreams. Who looks inside awakens. You got it? It's very important not only that you know what you want to do, but also why you want to do it. Okay? I say that because motives matter. You might want to write that down. Motives matter. So when you do things for the right reason, it will make the possible and the positive differences in the lives of others. Unselfish motives, you hear what I said? Unselfish motives help you build positive relationships, and they prevent the hidden agendas to incline you to put people ahead of your agenda. Got it? Sometimes doing something for the right reasons will keep your life afloat and not cluttered, and your path will always be clear. Your vision will even be clearer, but you must keep, hear me, you must keep yourself in a good place. Like yesterday, I'll tell you, I crashed and burned early last night. That's something that I don't get an opportunity to do a lot. I'm up a lot late. I'm up very early. And I went to bed very early last night, more than normal, because hear me, when you're a visionarian, you got to get your rest. Are you listening to me? And you got to know how to keep yourself on the right track. Okay? The work that I do is a calling on my life. Let me say that to y'all. The work that I do is a calling on my life. All right? It's a calling on my life. So I lead, I communicate, I think. Guess what? I was born to do this. I come from a lineage, my mother and my father, who were very hard workers. So I really rely a lot on my strength. It gives me energy. But watch this here. More importantly, it makes the difference in the lives of other people. That fulfills me, and it gives me a touch of my internal. I believe that you can have the same kind of satisfaction. I believe that you can experience that kind of success in the things that you are meant to do if you do them for the right reasons. You got to take the time to reflect. You got to explore your intentions and your attitudes. You got to know yourself, and you will grow. If you know yourself, you will actually grow. I'm just going to give you a couple of more things here, and I'm going to let you go for the day. Okay, I'm going to let you go. Matter of fact, and that it. Thank you so very much, Apostle Janet. And that's how I was going to end. But since you stole my thunder, I'll give you this one. I'm gonna be 2 points. Here's the first prophetic word. She put it on the screen. I was born to do this. I want to say you are born to do this. I want y'all to write that down somewhere. You can put it on the screen. You can put it on your Facebook page, whatever. I want you to say that. She took my thunder. I was going to end with that. But I want y'all to write down, I am born to do this. All right? I am born to do this. You can put that on the screen now if you choose to. It's really up to you. As I leave y'all, I want to leave you with this. If you want to get where you are wanting to be, you have to start becoming aware of the choices that lead you away from your desired destinations. You got to be very conscientious of every decision and every choice that you make so that you can begin to make smarter choices. Let me say this. There's a misnomer, and I want to put things to rest. One of the greatest satisfactions that I have is that people see my face but don't realize the things that work behind me to make it possible for what I do. I don't do everything alone. I can't do everything alone. For instance, my wife takes care of a majority of the things that go on with my kids, picking them up from school or making sure they eat and all that stuff, to give the flexibility for y'all to get a chance to get me to places where you are. I don't have an entity of life, whereas I'm like just by myself. I think all of y'all know that about me, but it's a team of people. My admin handles a lot of my business ventures, where my wife handles a lot of my personal situations. My staff at church, they handle a lot of the things at the church. So I'm able to do the things that I do, without having to say, because some of you, you're prophetic, but some of you got common sense too, especially those that know I have children and stuff like that. I work, I have many different sides and facets to me, many different entities, to me. And those are the choices that we all had to make to go forward. Now, they're not always the most popular decisions, but they're the decisions that work to make things happen for the greater good of what we do. And to move on from what you do now is that you have to know how to walk into possessive action. So when I was preparing this, I was preparing this to talk to you all about yesterday, and this is where all this ties into. You gotta have you gotta have 4 A's in order in life to make sure that you know how you're progressing. The first one is awareness. You may want to write that down. You have to become aware that you're not the end all to be all. Whether I'm reminded of it or whether I know it to be a truth, whether I know it to be a fact. One thing I do know is that you really have to spend the time really thinking about where you're presently headed. You got to know where you're going with what distinctive measures that you actually do. If it is not where you want to go, people of God, you got to write out the steps. And I'm telling you, I do this at least once a month. I'm always writing out some steps that I need to take to go to my desired destination and what I want to do. And I'm telling you, I made a choice early on. That I want to work hard in my early days. So in my latter days, I won't have to work as hard. I set some timelines. May 17th, I would have been preaching the gospel for 30 years. I'm probably never going to stop preaching. But one thing I can tell you is that I don't want to be at a place where all of my life I'm running up and down the highway for people who don't appreciate it or honor it or value it. I want to be able to teach my sons and daughters the lineage of what I've done to help them become more successful. So that way, hear me, I can sit, amen, and enjoy the things that God has allowed to be graced to be able to be done and not take the credit for it, but be able to be in humility and say, I thank God that the work of the kingdom can continue to go on. I'm aware that you can be today's frontline news and be tomorrow yesterday's has been. Are you understand that? You got to come aware that you ain't gonna live forever and your name ain't gonna be called forever. You understand? But I make sure that I'm always thinking ahead. I always think ahead. And where I am now, I'm looking at the next phase of my life with my seminary school. I want to be able to enjoy family. Amen. I want to enjoy wife, kids, that type of thing. I want to enjoy seeing my grass grow. Amen. I want to see water in my I want to see the white picket fence in my dog. Amen. Lexicon. Amen. I want to see those type of things to whereas I'm able to have a good life. And these are part of the plan. Hear me. You can't do it by yourself. And some of y'all right now, you act and think at 40 the same way you act and thought when you were 20. And you got to come into some awareness. Amen. Look, I don't look the way I looked when I was 20. I had to come into awareness. I'm getting old. I had to realize that my metabolism rate ain't the way it was when I was 18 or 25. You know what I'm saying? So you got to take some steps ahead to really know where it is that you really want to go and really your desired destination. That's the first one I want to give you. The second one is action. You cannot afford to win if you don't begin. You cannot win if you do not want to begin. Okay. What do you mean by that, Doc? It means that you got to do something specific every single day, and it'll help you take another step closer towards your goal. You got to know that. You got to have some goals. You got to have some things in life that you really want to prepare yourself to do. And some of the mistakes that I made was because I took improper actions. I thought I was winning when actually I was losing.